Who taught you, please, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleed to get like the white man?
But he's just not a teacher. Black people now want to be taught. They don't want to be just spoken to. They want to learn something now. They want to clear the smoke.
So what is his purpose?
You have to ask him that. You can't ask me what his limit is a fire conference. You have to go to him and ask him that.
Mandinka? What food stuff that you talking about? That's African. I ain't no African.
Well, I'm Mandinka. We're proud people.
And I'm American. I was born here. My mammy and my daddy was born here. And my daddy's daddy. And I ain't no African. Bad time all around.
Peace and love, family. Peace and love. Peace and love. Peace, good brother. How you feeling? Can you hear me or not? Can you hear me? Check. 1, 2.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm here.
Okay, there we go. What's good, bro? How you feeling?
All is truly well. Thank you for asking. Huh?
Yeah, listen, man, and it was funny as you was hitting me up. I'm like, let me go ahead and do a quick live, which I'm sure now is going to be the precursor for part 2 when we take it over to Crumb TV. So I'm excited about tonight. This live I'm about to do right now was partially based on our conversation earlier, but I had already had some stuff on TikTok that I wanted to share, and that's why I titled "The Black Royals of Europe," because I had did a measure on this November 16th, 2024, a whole measure. And I'm calling names and I'm showing receipts. And this is like, I don't know, maybe one of like a 6-part series I did on TikTok about everybody. And this is just one of them. And again, I came across this information a while ago, but when we talked today, you and I, it kind of brought up some stuff. So I wanted to cover just a little bit of this information tonight, just a little bit of it. And then we can switch gears and get into some other stuff that you were talking about earlier. So hopefully this will be kind of the precursor of the appetizer before we go into what you and I spoke about earlier. We're keeping with decorum and house rules. Let's see what's over in the chat real quick. The Parker, pens and paper. Let's go. Hey man, y'all know what it is, man. Disciples in the building, man. Not students in the building. Pen and paper. Let's go. Dr. Hope. Dr. Hope be everywhere. Dr. Hope be on Crumb TV. Dr. Hope, like wherever the knowledge at, I'm there. Appreciate y'all so much, man. Be sure to share this live. I don't go live often. So this is probably like, oh, what happened? Set your notifications. You never know. Either way you catch me on Crumb TV, but set your notifications. You never know what platform I'm up here on. Shrewsbury is another champion, both the master student and the disciple, always supporting in the chat. Peace and love. Peace and light, everybody. Share this live, man. Share this live. Try to get my numbers up. So yeah, but before I kind of dive into it, I want to see if you had anything, um, any insight you can add before I get into it.
Um, about what in particular? I'm sorry.
Just the Black Royals of Europe, because this lesson tonight is going to help solidify the Queen Scotia of Scotland. It kind of joins everything on world history platform. Like, oh wow, okay. So if this much of Europe history is true when it comes to the Black Germanic people, the Angluses, and the Black Douglases, and the what do you call them? The Stewarts, and the bloodline of Charlotte and her mother, and the Portuguese, pretty much. This is going to speak to all those descendants on the Iberian Peninsula, right above Africa or El Maghrib. These are the people that I'm going to help people understand tonight. Like these sets of people, this is a different set of people that we're going to talk about tonight. These are the supposed Moors and why they were Moors, and the royal bloodline that goes deep up into Switzerland, the Netherlands, to Switzerland again. Look at the flags. Italy. It's that same crow that you saw with that German camp. These are the four kings, the four Moorish kings who got beheaded. Those are the four great empires.
What flag is that on the shield?
That symbol is a symbol of the Hospillars. Just the shield with the cross on it.
Well,
those heads were symbols of the fallen Moorish kingship. There was four Moorish kings, four Moorish bloodlines that were all through Germany, Sicily, Italy, everywhere. You see how those are the same four heads, and they're surrendering to Christianity. That's Islam, surrendering to Christianity. Those are the Moorish crests. Those are the heads. Represent the four kingship, really, of the Moorish bloodline, by way of the Douglases. And I'm showing how those descendants were enslaved and shipped.
Could we go back just a little bit to that shield? I wanted to talk about that just a little bit.
This one right here?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me go a little bit.
We keep seeing the white base with the red cross. I think we've seen it maybe 2 or 3 times now. Can we like go through the next 2 or 3? So I saw it there in the shield. Let me see the next one. I think like the next, yeah, there it is again. The white base with the red cross. Let me see it one more time. I think there's somewhere else. I think the next one got it too. So those two, there should be one more.
Yeah. I'm circling the 4 heads.
Okay.
4 Moorish kings.
Now, the reason I point that out, there we go.
Oh, my bad. But
no, you're good.
Go on.
The reason I point out the flag looking like that is because for the family who may or may not be familiar, that's the flag of England. That's England. Anytime you see that white base with the 2 red lines that are crossed, that's England. Now, you're going to see it on a bunch of flags, in a bunch of different places. My point for pointing that out is that these are, okay, because like, let's say we say Thistly. Family, don't nobody know about no Thistly. I don't even know about no Thistly. I just seen the minister went through it. Okay, Thistly. I'm not sure about Thistly, but sure. But we know England. And we know England has a certain look, but when we go through historicity, when we go through antiquity, when we go through the past, we're going to see England, from what the minister is showing, England looked black. It looked black as hell, so called. But not only did I want to point that out, I wanted to point out that in terms of going through history, I find this to be super duper fun for the simple fact that it's me personally. I'm learning everything all over again because this is the stuff they didn't show us in school. Those books in school were Yehudi magic, Yehudi whitewash. But I just want to point that part out. When a minister is showing you these pictures, family, this is not some random island in Papua New Guinea.
Right. No,
How
bro,
you
facts.
know?
Facts. So, yeah, this is just more stuff over on TikTok land that I had really got into. This is one interesting character right here. The Stewart Queens. We often talk about the monarch or the patriarch, the patriarchal society of Europe, but there were a lot of queens who had that Moorish blood in them too. And this is one right here we talk about that I talk about.
Can we go back to it? Because I can break it down. Unless you want to go to something else, it's up to you.
No. I'm gonna pull up an actual joint. Same lady.
Take your time.
Go ahead.
Well, looking at the word Stewart, Stuart. When I first came into the game, I came in with etymology breaking down words. Well, I'm going in reverse. Remember back in the day, we learned letters then words. I learned words then letters. So when I look at Stewart, I'm looking at the letters. That T was not originally there.
Facts.
When we look at the word Stewart, the original word, that STU, that U is a very controversial letter, because when we look at the U, we're going to see another letter with the same name, the double U.
Damn.
But the issue is the U and the W. The issue is the U and the W. They don't look the same. One has straight lines. The other one has curvy lines. So what are we dealing with? Well, the alphabet is in chronological order. So when we look at the alphabet, we're going to see the letters that come before or in the same time frame. So we're doing STUVW. There's the U, and right between the U and the W is a V. Now the interesting thing is that V looks just like the W. Why? Because ain't no such thing as a U.
Damn.
Go back and look at the word Stewart, take out the T, and go re-examine the U. That U is a W. The word's not Stewart, the word is Swarthy.
Just facts.
Anybody with the name Stewart is really the name Swarthy. I yield.
No, it's facts. Way to fucking unload. Yeah, that's facts right there, bro. And there's some people that still try to debate, because I had a couple of people who on another brother's live was going to debate me just on the fact of Swarthy. I'm like, look, man, I'm not making this shit up. You guys are supposed to be conscious and everything else. You guys know black means white, so we can get rid of the word black. So we're not talking about black people, because black means blanc. So we're not talking about that. Same time frame. By the definition, if you look up the word black, it will appear in O.Hi German, O.Hi French, and so on and so forth, and give you a number of the 16th century. So anything prior to that, black didn't even exist. It did not refer to a people at all. So there were no black people in Europe. So they had to have another name. that people portrayed them as, and swarthy, tawny, brunette. All those terms were terms from which, where, yes, for which we often get the simulation of tall, dark, and handsome. Sorry, tall, dark, and handsome. Was Elizabeth was Elizabeth the first swarthy? Some people, such as Venetian ambassador Giovanni Michael, 1557, described the queen as the following: her face is comely rather than handsome, but she is tall and well formed with good skin. Though swarthy, she has fine eyes. And then it goes on to the bottom to say, was Queen Elizabeth a Stewart? To your point, Her Majesty Queen was bound to Scotland. Both ties of ancestry, it goes back to Queen Scotia, ancestral, we went way back, affection, and duty. She was descended from the royal house of Stewart on both sides of her family. It's Queen Elizabeth. We ain't got the Charlotte. Charlotte is a little bit later. And I'm going to show you where Charlotte comes from. Charlotte comes from the Portuguese. This is Queen Philippa. This is a whole AMC series about her. The wife of Queen of there's another one I was about to get into. These are the Black Douglases. It's called the Black Douglas. We're gonna talk about the Black Douglas. Sir James Douglas. This is the movie Martin Lawrence was portraying. Even in the movie, the dude said, told Martin Lawrence, "Mind your tongue, Moore." Mind your tongue, Moore, he told Martin in the movie. So, swarthy, dark-skinned. In the Moorish Temple, they say olive tone, all shades of olives, olive tone. In America, they say copper tone. Stewart means swarthy. Stewart is the same word as swarthy. Did I miss something there, brother? Stewart is the same word as swarthy, which means black in Old English. There was once a Stewart line of kings in England. The name of the founding ancestor was Stewart, which means black man. Go ahead, bro.
No, you didn't miss anything. That's all right, wise, right, and exact. This is not a translation, ladies and gentlemen. This is a transliteration. So it's the same word. Stewart is swarthy, and these words, terms rather, existed before the term black. Nobody was black at this time. You could be Stewart, but you can't be black. I yield.
No, that's also that's right.
There was once a Stewart line of kings in England. The name of the founding ancestor was Stewart, which means black man. James VI, and that was a hugely significant Stewart king. His predecessor in Scotland was his mother, Mary, Queen of Scots. In England, his cousin
James
Elizabeth I, finally a successor in both kingdoms.
I'm from the old Nordish roots. That's the SB you're talking about, bro. The SB.
Kings of the United Kingdom.
Sports.
King James VI of Scotland.
You just made that point.
King James I of England, thus combining the two thrones for the first time. King James II was the younger brother of King Charles II. King Charles is Queen Charles'
the second brother of King Charles.
Grandson. Contrary to popular belief, there were black people and others from around the world seen in every corner and nook of society.
King Charles II, considered to have black heritage because of his dark hair and swarthy skin. His mother gave him the nickname the Black Boy.
King James and Charles are responsible for establishing the original colonies in North America.
Listen, man. Listen. If y'all don't go follow my TikTok, man. I yield the floor.
The House of Stewart changes. I don't think this is a revelation to anybody. We see those pictures. We see those people. They're clearly black people with the last name Stewart. But I would like to ask the audience, the listening audience, who was the most famous Stewart in 2025 right now? We see the pictures. We see all of those Stewarts. But in 2025, who's the most famous Stewart?
Shit, you got me stumped.
Well, I would give a hint, but I don't want to give the hint because, and maybe the person I'm thinking about isn't the most famous. Somebody else can throw out a name that may be more famous than the name that I'm thinking about. But if I had to guess, I think we're all thinking about the same person with the name Stewart, the most famous Stewart. Now, Stewart is a surname, not a given name. The most famous Stewart is Martha Stewart.
Come on now.
Now,
Martha Black.
Right. Now, remember, there are more so-called white people with the last name Black, and there are more so-called black people with the last name White. Today, there are more so-called white people with the last name Stewart. Why? Because I'm telling you, they hijacked the bloodline. We were the Stewarts. Now they are the Stewarts. So what happened? Well, glad you asked. There was a breeding program. And this is no different than Yakub and the gang. Under this breeding program, they introduce a certain gene, and just like the other breeding programs, these genetic games that they're playing, because that's really what it is. If we're going to be 100%, these games are based on these daggone monkeys. And I'm gonna share a screen, and then I'll yield the floor because I want to keep this thing nice and quick. Check this out. Human ginger gene linked to orangutan.
Man, what the hell?
Are you ginger? Do you or anyone in your family, do you or any of your family members have red hair? Well, if so, you may be related to one of the cleverest monkeys on the planet, the orangutan. Scientists taking part in a study of, let me see if I can make this bigger. I'm sorry. Let me see, can I help the family out? This one is kind of small. Scientists taking part in a study of genetic makeup at some college in Dublin. Anybody know where Dublin's at? Have proved this week that red-haired people directly descend from orangutans, who also have flowing, beautiful auburn hair. I yield the floor.
Shut the fuck up. That's crazy.
You guys were the Stewarts. Now they're the Stewarts through a breeding program.
Damn. Fucking mind blown. So, the reason I pulled this up right here because I wanted to share, hold on, some more insight before I get into the power, switch hands, and all that kind of stuff. Here we go. Let's go to the Black Douglas real quick. The Black Douglas. Can you see that, bro? Here we go. The Black Douglas refer to a lineage within the Clan Douglas, specifically the Douglases of Douglasdale branch. The name Black Douglas was given to them, particularly to Sir James Douglas, for his dark complexion, for his swarthy complexion, for his olive tone complexion, for his what else? Copper tone, whatever, was given to them, particularly Sir James Douglas, for his dark complexion and fierce reputation as a warrior. Sounds like Berbers, especially during the Scottish Wars of Independence. Well, you got Black people fighting in the Scottish Wars for Independence. What's going on? The Black Douglases were known for their bravery and support of King Robert the Bruce. He's an interesting character also. You should check out King Robert the Bruce if you don't know who that is. Since we're talking about Scotland and Wales and all that area, let's get to know the people. Sir James Douglas, the good Sir James, he was a prominent figure during the wars, plural, of independence. This is for Scotland. This is not, what's his name? The white actor in Braveheart. This is not him. They're portraying some people that's not them people. I'm telling you, this is the real people right here. His nickname, Black Douglas, may have originated from his swarthy complexion. His swarthy complexion and his fierce inspiration of his enemies. The specific branch of the Douglas clan was known as the Black Douglases. They were stanch supporters of Robert the Bruce and played a significant role in the Scottish War of Independence. I have now proven to you. Let's keep going. You have the Red Douglases. Why were the Red Douglases called the Red Douglases, Crumb? The branch of the Douglas clan of the Earls and the Angluses were known as the Red Douglases due to their ruddy complexion and their red hair. These are Black people. This highlights and distinction within the clan based on physical appearance. The Black Douglas title of fear, the Black Douglas, the fall of the Black Douglases at a certain battle, the Battle of Archelon. Defeat the 9th Earl of the Douglases, the 9th Earl of the Douglases. I just want to put it out there. And they mentioned the Angus clan also. Crom, I think, touched on it a while ago. These are the people we're talking about. This was the fight for Scotland. This is the same story that Crom was telling you with the Queen Scotia. This is her descendants. Remember, Crom, you was telling them about the experiment she was doing? This is the splicing of the gene with the red hair. They're called the Red Douglases, Black people, red hair, the Red Douglases of Scotland. So sticking to the word swarthy, stick to swarthy. I got 2 more points, and I'm gonna land my plane. Let's stay in line with the word swarthy real quick. Another swarthy scrapping brother, King Charles. Here's another one. Think of the Creole people of Louisiana. King Charles. Why was King Charles called Black? Because of his dark skin and his eyes. The Black Boy are generally named after Charles. They're pubs in England called the Black Boy. Would you guys want to know what they look like? You can't make this stuff up, man. There should not be any argument about so-called Black people existing in Europe. The Black Boys, sorry. I'll put some images for you real quick. It's called the Black Boy. This is an actual pub. These are pubs, or call them bars, sports bars, whatever the case is. Named after King Charles, a Black king. Now, here's another swarthy fella real quick. Let's go here. It says, no, it is not accurate to say King James was swarthy. The historical accounts, his lineage suggests He was European with dark complexity, traits possibly stemming from ancient North African Roman legionary station in the area. He was not of African descent, and the concept of swarthy typically refers to dark complexion, which possibly in his lineage isn't the same as being African origin. We're still in Scotland, by the way. King James VI of Scotland. So we start talking about King James Bible and his England and Europe. King James was in Scotland. He was the Prince of Wales by default, by way of his mother, Queen, what's her name? Queen Anne, or Queen Charlotte. Well, not Queen Charlotte, Queen Anne, I think it was. By Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, by default. He became both ruler of both realms, but primarily Scotland. The Stewart family, we're talking about the Stewart family now. I just showed you the Douglases, talked about the Anguses. Tudor was a time period of Europe. So they call it the Tudor Stewart dynasty or Tudor Stewart time period. But the Stewart family, to which King James belonged, it's a whole family, did have dark complexity. This might be attributed to the potential North African ancestry from Roman legionaries who was stationed in the region centuries earlier. However, this is not the same as having African ancestry in the modern sense. They're making a distinction. The term swarthy generally refers to a person with dark tan skin. Tawny is another word used to describe people of darker European descent. Some individuals believe that King James had African ancestry. Yeah, they're called Moors. Moors. Was Queen Charlotte related? Hold on. Was Queen Charlotte related to Moors? Let's talk about this. This is Queen Charlotte. I told you the Creoles, the Creole light-skinned people in New Orleans, the high yellow, real light skin, sophisticated, boule, Negroes. These were the ones who later end up shipping Moors out of Spain and Portugal. And that's why the Portuguese and the Dutch, but primarily the Portuguese, were the first ones to tie into the international trading. And they always call it the slave trade. You never asked what they were trading. So you get into trading and maritime operation with these kings and queens and these monarchs. You get into the African Royal Company that Crum showed you the other day with King James. You get into a couple other maritime operation and contractors. Like, for example, I'm going to come back to Queen Charlotte in a second. Who hired John Hawkins to contract for slave trading?
According to Wikipedia, Hawkins chartered Queen Elizabeth I Jesus of Lubeck. Hawkins persuaded Queen Elizabeth I to back his second slave voyage and secured investors from her court. These included Robert Dudley, 1st Earl of Leicester, and Edward Clinton, 1st Earl of Lincoln, with William Cecil, 1st Baron Burghley, involved as a supervisor.
Contractual trade. This is when it became a trade. This is John Hawkins. This is the guy you need to know right here. Naval Commander John Hawkins became the first contractor to traffic bodies. All the other stuff was just getting labor over here to cut down trees and shit. There wasn't slave trading yet. This is the trade about to happen. So just transporting people. Remember, when the Pilgrims came over, nobody called them the slave trade. It made it sound all cute, like it was a religious rebellion. No, they were being excommunicated. These are the Brownists. I keep telling you, it's the Brownists. It was the Quakers, the Calvinists. They came over here because they followed Calvin in the Calvin Bible. They followed that stuff. So Hawkins is the first contractor. This is when the business starts. This is the transaction of work for hire for trading bodies. This is when it gets crazy. John Hawkins and Francis Drake. Well, I'm sorry, was Francis Drake's cousin. He was a navigator and trader and enslaved people. Made 3 voyages during the 1560s, capturing Africans and selling them into slavery in the Spanish settlers Central America. That Spanish settlers right here, these were Moors. These are Moors. Now, when I'm saying Moors, I know you got the Fez and you got the other stuff going on, and it's all in your head. But let me show you some Moors real quick that were involved directly in navigating slave trading. When those black royals got put out of Europe, a lot of other Moors made money on that. And there's that cross again that Cron was talking about earlier. Remember the cross you just talked about with the red cross with the white background? Here's that cross. Where is it at? The Moorish brothers were the Pinzo, I'm saying that right, brothers, pesos, Pinzo brothers, not their owners. Martin Alonso, I'm slaughtering these names. These 2 names right here were the captains of the Pinta and the Nina, respectively. They were instrumental in preparation and success of Columbus's first voyage. The 3rd brother, Francisco Martin, was also aboard the Pinta as its master. So when they say Moors showed Columbus how to get over here, the kingdom had fell apart. This is everything I just showed you from the 1400s, 1300s, 1400s. After the 1100s, the empire started to crumble and fall. They told you that the Moors went into Spain, or in the area. What year, Crom? Do you know what year the Moors went into the area? Spain? And
711.
711. This is 1400s. This is 700 years later. 700 years. How many generations is that? 5 generations? 6 generations? 700 years? Every 100 years? The Moorish brothers. Write these names down. The Santa Maria was the largest ship of the fleet, who was owned by Captain Juan de la Casa. Juan Nino. There you go, right here. Juan Nino. Look this guy up real quick. And all I'm showing you is just hopefully trying to dispel the lie of these Europeans going into Africa, just taking black people and supplanting them in America. Not true. Not true at all. There we go. There we go. I just wanted to put some faces with these names. These are all black Europeans, from James to Charles to Elizabeth to Charlotte. These brothers right here, all up and down Portugal, Europe, Scotland, were dark-skinned people, commonly referred to as Moors. But because we only know the type of Moors that is presented in America with the fezzes on and W. Ali and there's a long 700-year-old history that we have to go back on. Anything to add, bro?
No, teach Muhammad.
So How do we get from this to this? This was discussed a little bit earlier. A couple of things happen that you have to write down. In the late 1400s, European monarchs, particularly those in Spain and Portugal, we're still in Spain and Portugal, were looking to expand their territories and economic influence. The Catholic Church, major role. The Papist, the Pope, from his ecclesiastical authority, was the one who laid down these edicts or papal bulls, or ecclesiastical authority, means like Jesus, God said so and so. In the name of our Father, we're about to go do such and such. In hoc signo vince, and this sign we shall conquer. Manifest destiny, our God said. This is the power they're packing behind this onslaught that's about to happen. The Catholic Church, which played a major role in European political and religious life, sought to provide moral and legal justification for these expansions, particularly under the leadership of Pope Nicholas V and his successors, plural. These popes about to slaughter these Moors. These are the papal bulls you have to write down. Write them down in order, please. Dum Versi, 1452. The Roman Pontifex, 1455. And then finally, the Indicatera Cavina, 1493. What year did Columbus come to America, supposedly? 1492. Columbus sailed the ocean blue. Okay, 1 year after that. Here we go. But the 1452 Dum Versi, issued by Pope Nicholas V, was the bull, a papal bull, gave the Portuguese king the right to enslave Muslims, pagans, and other Christians. It justified wars against non-Christian people and considered the precursor for the later doctrine of discovery. I was telling Crom this earlier. Crom mentioned wars. I said, we got to talk about which wars. Which wars we're talking about? Not just the wars between King Montezuma from the shores of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, the last stronghold of We're not talking about that. That came a little bit later. We're talking about earlier on when they were slaughtering Juicies in Spain by the thousands. No disrespect, would have made Hitler shit look like a lollipop party, what they did to the Yehudis in Spain under Pope Nicholas V in 1452. The Roman Pontifex claimed all the lands. In 1493, this made the most notable papal bull direct link to the doctrine of discovery issued by Pope Alexander VI. It granted Spain the right to claim lands discovered by Columbus. And that's why they say Columbus discovered America. No, he didn't. According to Spain, he did. And this is how it's going to go. And Trump about to bring that back anyway, I heard. Columbus Day. He should. Any future explorers in the New World, provided those lands were not already under control of Christian rulers. Out of that, you get the Christendom. I always call it Christendom imperialism. The legal framework, the doctrine of discovery established a legal and moral justification for colonization. It declared that any land not inhabited by Christians could be claimed by European Christian rulers. Indigenous people were seen as subjects who could either convert to Christianity or be subdued through force. The impact of the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine laid the foundation for European colonization in Americas, Africa, and parts of Asia. It justified the seizures of lands and subjugation of indigenous people and established the colonial empires. The doctrine has lasted legal consequences in the United States. For example, the Supreme Court case of Johnson versus McIntosh in 1823 upheld the principles of the doctrine of discovery. It said, stating that indigenous people had only the rights to occupancy, but not ownership of their lands. This ruling cemented the legal framework for seizures and dispositions of Native American tribes. This has never been overturned, challenged, nothing. Because the Pope said under ecclesiastical authority, we own the land. That's why there's a church on the corner of every township. city center, municipality, whatever you want to call it. There's a church on the corner right there to establish this. It's on the northeast corner, guaranteed. Every city, across the county. I get the floor.
I wanted to point out a real famous example. Minister, of course, I would ask you to not say anything, but I want to ask the listening audience, do y'all know who this dude is? Does anybody know who the, I don't want to say the name. Say my name, say my name. I don't want to say nobody's name. You tell me who it is. So once the family figure out who this is, then I want to check the Carfax. After the people who can accurately identify who it is, then I want to check the Carfax. Okay, there we go. So yeah, that is Malcolm X. Now, question, why is this important? Answer, if we go to Malcolm X's wiki article, boom, I'm going to hit mom. Nope, that's not going to work. I'm going to hit mother. M-O-T. There she is, Lewis. I'm going to hit her. I'm going to scroll down and we see right here, it says, early years and family. I'm reading. All right, so then I already read all that stuff. You can always read that. It had been claimed that Lois's mother, Ella, now Ella is going to be Malcolm X's grandmama on his mama's side, who was one of 6 children of the Langdons, was great by a significantly older Scotsman. When you see that red hair, I need you guys to understand something. I think red hair is like only, it accounts for like 0.7% of the world population. It's the least, it's the rarest hair color of all. And I think they were down, where were they at? They were down south somewhere, Mississippi maybe. I'm sorry, you were gonna say something? Oh, so I don't know if they were in Mississippi somewhere, but a lot of those people after Oliver Cromwell, they came up north, which for us would be the South. They came from the islands to the South. By this time, these redheads, you know, they're bad. They're bad people, bad juju. And this is the 120 degrees of trichology that they told you about. This may be where you're going to get the red hair from Malcolm Little. Because a lot of us here in America are going to have to deal with, matter of fact, here, I don't know if you guys know this. Press 000 if you did not know. Most of the so-called slave names are Welsh. Most of your so-called slave names are Welsh. If you did not know that, press 000. Crumb, these are slave names. Well, most of those slave names are Welsh names. But why is that even important? Because the Welsh weren't slave masters or slave owners. So if that's the case, then there has to be something else. There's got to be something else to the story. These are slave names, Crumb. Well, how come all y'all slave names is Welsh and the Welsh didn't do no slavery? It got to be a little something more to the story if that's the case. I yield the floor.
No, that was a good drop off. I never thought about that. I never knew that, first of all. Knew he had red hair though. Red hair was but I never connected the damn dots to them. And ancestrally so. But yeah, so that's really all I want to do right now, man. This little small session. Appreciate you hopping on. We're just under an hour. So you got any final thoughts? I wrap it up at the hour mark.
Yeah, you actually blew my mind. I really appreciate and enjoy going over the overall arcing topic of Black nobility. The Black history of Europe is utterly amazing. There's so much more to go into, and I can't wait to do it again. Thank you again, Minister.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you, man. Listen, y'all, thank y'all for tapping in with me, man. I appreciate you for another amazing episode. Misinformation. Crumb TV.
Mandinka. What food stuff that you talking about? That's African. I ain't no African.
Well, I'm Mandinka. We're proud people.
And I'm American. I was born here. My mammy and my daddy was born here. And my daddy's daddy. And I ain't no African. Bad time all around.
The booty man. I'm still the booty man. And will ever be a booty man.
Let me ask you this.
And I love booty, man. And I'm gonna tell you, this is how much I love booty. And I checked myself the other day. I was at Walmart. And, you know, I heard something hit the floor. You know, in the stores, people drop items on the floor. Most times they let it just sit there and go on. I seen this man bend over and pick that up off the ground, and his pants went down when he bent over. And you can see about that much of his crack. I turned and looked away, but when I looked down, I was hard, man. And I'm like, what? I just like booty, man. I mean, you will see a bottle of this man on your bed, baby oil. You will be like, who put this in my cell? Ain't nobody gonna say nothing. You gonna come through the next day with another bottle. You have somebody want to do something, come to me face to face. I'm a man. I'm all that old. Then one day you gonna walk up, somebody gonna pop you in your head, knock you down, tie you to the bed, take your shorts down. Whoa. Put that smoke it all up around you, rub your cheeks, rub it in. Pause, please. Get in back of you and hunt you.
They said that.
And you can hear that baby oil makes noise, man. It makes that. You can hear that. You can hear the cheeks popping like